Hi there, this is Sam with Seconds Here Sound. Really nice to see you here. So Fracture Sound, that have created really beautiful pianos and even ambient guitars, now have a bigger piano where they really gather all the knowledge to create an even more detailed piano, the big grand, their Spotlight piano. It's a beautiful, intimate piano sound with lots of lush sounds. So let's go deeper into it and see what it can do. Quite a few years ago, when I started to get into stage pianos and electrical pianos, I remember that even though I liked electrical pianos, they often lacked the string resonance that a natural piano has, when you hold down the pedal. And so what they often did is that you put on a pad in the background to get that vibe when the piano didn't really hold its own in a way. And that became a thing. And I remember when you sort of doubled the electric piano, maybe Rhodes and a normal piano and a pad, it became that big, fat, massive sound, very popular in jazz and electrical fusion and some soul music. And it really became a thing that a lot of people enjoyed. And I wonder sometimes if this is a little bit what they mimicked in the Spotlight piano, because it has its own beautiful piano, but then also that resonance and also those great pads that fill up the piano makes it very alive and very evolving. I find that this piano is very simple to play. It just loads up and you don't have to tweak it a lot. And the controls are still really simple. You can just dial it in. And this is about playing, not to tweak around too much to create the perfect sound. It just all really works. I find that this piano lends itself mostly to intimate cinematic sounds and maybe not so much an all versatile piano that can do anything. And I would find that really dynamic music and sharper attack, you can tweak that in, but I find it's not really meant for that. If you've seen my previous review of the Winchester piano, you will feel right at home. It's a very similar interface, but this one has a few more tricks up its sleeves. But let's go over the controls. Color. Really like this one. You can just dial in the sound you want. So it's kind of like an EQ. So we have I'm doing the extremes now, so you get the idea. But also the timbre shift, which has to do with what samples you use. So and just with these two, you can really dial in the perfect intimate sound that you want. And also stereo width, which is pretty self-explanatory. But this is the atmosphere intensity with the module here, which controls these three pads. So you can have a lot, dial them down. And this time, you don't just get three different sounds. You can actually click here and choose from quite a few. And I love it because it's enough for me. I don't get what I call the omnisphere headache, having to choose from thousands of different patches. These are just all great sounding patches, just always sound good. So I love that. Then you have hammers and pedals, the noises basically. So for example, all the pedals, you can hear this. You can have more hammer sounds as well if you want that intimate detail. And then room tone and reverb. And it's not just normal, reverbs. You also have a nice convolution here with all kinds of different reverbs in there. So you should definitely check them out. Very nice stuff. And then very interesting, the mic mix is quite upgraded here too. They don't only have three different mics that you can turn on and off, But it has this nice little slider here, so you can have a very intimate close sound. Or, for example, very far away. Or somewhere in between, obviously. If you click on these cogs here, you have something interesting. First of all, the time alignment. And that means they align the samples or they're naturally sounding. Well, we have 3 mics here, and they obviously placed different places in the room, so the sound will hit them at different times. More natural sounding, let's actually move this one a little bit here, it would sound like this. But if you have them more aligned where all the samples are at the same time, it's a little bit tighter sound. That's something you can play around with. But also something very interesting is the mic blend. What they've done, the default is just, the default mics. But what you can do here is something that you can't do in real life. The piano adapts to different mics depending where you are. So if you play down here, you have more intimate, closer mics that are more bassy, have more body, and then you have more sharper. So it actually changes the mics depending where you are, which I find really cool. And then you have custom, where you can just decide what mics you want. So you can have the mics, I forgot which one it is, you have to look it up, but that are better for the body sound, We can change it to hammers, which is a sharper sound, which is better for up. Try that again with body here. You see, it lost some of that edge. So I really like that. It's a lot of options to really dial in the sound. But not only that, they also have the response page here, where you can basically dial in your velocity layer. But I do want to say, even though I find this is really excellent that you can choose exactly what you want, then this is probably more suitable if you want that really intimate sound, so you don't want a sharper velocity. But I still find that the velocity layers are a little bit lacking in this piano. I'm very nitpicking here because I'm a pianist and have a weighted keyboard, but it's not as deep as I want it to be. And then they have settings. Here you can do quite a things. You can change the sample start. And I've never seen this in a piano before, but basically if you have it all to the left, you get all the transients and details that the sound has. But obviously it will be a lot later, so you can't really play with this. I would rather set it there. And then maybe later you move this slider when you've finished, and you also make sure that that latency is shifted in your DAW. And then you get more detail, I guess. But I've never seen another piano library done this before, and I just don't know if it adds that much. And then advanced resonance when you have the pedal down. So and you can turn that off if you find like it's using too much RAM. Force pedal down samples. That means that the resonance that you get from all the strings sounding at the same time, it's always there, no matter what you play. So even if I don't hold the pedal down, I get that full resonance sound as well, which just makes the piano sound bigger. Then clarity filter, it's quite interesting if you have a lot of rumble down here from all the pedals. You can turn that off because that low frequency hammer sound can be quite annoying sometimes. So they have a filter for that if you have that on. Then you have Atmos decay naturally or sustain infinitely, which is interesting. That's it for the interface. And what I really like about it is its simplicity and how easy it is to dial in a good sound, and you don't have to tweak a lot to get exactly what you need. So I really enjoy this piano from Fracture Sounds. It follows the vein of their other instruments of having a really evolving, beautiful, lush sounds that are alive and not static. So you can have these great chords that keep going, perfect for underscoring in cinematic moods. And it's a beautiful, intimate sound. It's probably one of the better intimate pianos out there. But that's also something that I warn you about. I think personally, this is not a versatile piano that can do everything out there. I think it lends itself really well to the intimate sound, but not so much other things. Now, it is true that they have great mic positions and a lot of options to change this piano around, but I still think it works the best for the intimate sound, you know, that close mic'd sound with a lot of details. It doesn't really match other pianos that I have that have a bigger dynamic range that can do much more, that can sound much more. One thing I wonder a little bit why they included this, they have this slider here in the settings where you can have the sample start. This is quite common for other libraries if you have a lot of transients like strings or brass, and it's true that piano can have that too. You get all that detail in there. But if you're gonna move that slider all to the left or even in the middle, it feels like the piano is very late. It's like there's a lot of latency, and that's not really what you want. It doesn't feel right when you play the piano. So you obviously could move the slider all the way to the right, and that feels like a real piano. And then when you're done, I guess you can move it to the left again. But I wonder about this because I've never seen another library do this. I don't really see the point of it. And that matched with not having the deepest dynamic layers, it's lacking a little bit for me in terms of if you have a weighted keys and you're a pianist, you might think about that. And you probably don't know what I'm talking about just hearing the sound. This is more of a feeling. But that's the only nitpick I have. I love this piano. It definitely has a spot in my template for the more intimate sound and those beautiful synths that are in there. So if you need a piano like that, I highly recommend it. I really like the approach from Fracture Sounds, the way their instruments are ready to play and very simple to change, and nothing too complex that you need to nerd about forever to get the perfect sound. Anyway, that's it for this review. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe, or try out my new course, Compose Yourself, a course about how to structure yourself and become a lot more productive and creative as a composer. But until next time, write a lot of music and take care.